Early in the evening on that following day, I made my way out to the bustling village. I had a hood that I wore over my kimono to conceal my identity and my demon-like features. I sat on top of a tree looking down over the town. People were beginning to make their way into their homes, getting ready to sleep and begin for a new day. Different scents clouded in the air as I realized I would have to get much closer to the houses to smell any sort of anguish from illnesses. I waited patiently as the streets cleared and as the moon rose higher in the sky. I jumped down from the tree and walked with my head down low, but my senses held high. I almost lost hope until I came to a house towards the perimeter of the village. I smelled close to death. I smelled sadness, and my heart pounded in my chest from nervousness and excitement. I knocked on the door and waited for someone to open up. I brought the hood on my head over my eyes to hide them for the time being. They were extremely unique, and I wouldn't want to scare whoever answered. The door finally cracked open, revealing a middle-aged man. "Can I help you?" he asked. I chuckled. "No, because I am here to help you." Excuse me?" the man asked, puzzled. "Is someone here hurting? Is someone here dying?" His eyes widened. He took a step closer to me and suddenly, slightly, closed the door behind him. "How did you know that?" he whispered, almost in relief. "Because I'm a demon," I said to him as I looked up. "But I'm here to help." His eyes went glassy from fear. I could smell it. "Please, don't be scared. I mean no harm, but if you trust me, I can give the person whom you're grieving 30 minutes of life to spend with you and the rest of your family. It will take them out of pain. It will give them their abilities lost back to them. They will pass on after 30 minutes, but I promise they will die painlessly and go to heaven," I explained. The man's eyes began to tear. "Please, come in." As I walked into the small house and examined the room, there was a woman kneeling by a dinner table praying. There was a little child clutching onto her kimono. In a chair sat an older lady who was very small and frail, and she appeared to be blind. "Is this her?" She gave off the slight smell of despair. That's when I heard a cry. My eyes averted to where the noise came from. A very old man was screaming in pain, clutching his abdomen. "Please put my father out of his misery. He's been screaming for days, and nothing seems to help. He has said countless times that he just wants to die." The younger man cried out. His eyes were dark and sunken in, as if he hadn't slept for days. "Before I do, I must warn you. I have one payment, and it's simply a vial of blood from him. I will take it before he passes. He won't feel a thing." I told the desperate man, and he seemed to think for a moment. "Whatever you want, just please put him out of his misery." I walked over to the man and knelt down next to his futon. He was in so much agony that he didn't even notice me there. Blood demon art, lurker luck. His body was a mess. His kidneys were failing because of his liver. His liver was poisoning his blood, making him hallucinate. "Oh, what is she doing?" I overheard the old lady ask her son. He explained to her, which made her clutch her chest. "I want you to go with him, please. I want to see him one last time," she cried. "But Mom, you're still healthy," her son begged. I waited to place the spell, to see what my next move would be. The man looked at me with an incredible moment of despair. and I couldn't help but feel sorry for him. If it's time, it's my time too, son. I'm sorry we both have to leave you, but I must see my husband's face one last time. And I must see my grandson's face for the first time ever. Who knows if I'd ever get this opportunity again. Now please, guide me next to your father. The man looked to me, and I simply nodded for him to bring her over. He placed her next to the older man as she sobbed hysterically. He went and sat by his wife, who held him and his child. I held out one of my hands over the man and one over the lady, to ignite the spell over both of them simultaneously. Blood demon art, God's lullaby. And suddenly, the man's convulsions stopped as he took a deep breath. The man who hugged his wife gasped, and the older lady blinked as her irises returned and replaced the cloudy eyes she once had. Instantly, tears swelled in her eyes as she reached for her husband and embraced him. You have 30 minutes left to live, so please, enjoy your precious time. I walked over to the corner and closed my eyes, letting them have their time as I set a mental clock in my head. Both of them got up with ease and ran towards their family, all of them sobbing into one another. It even brought tears to my eyes. It's going to be hard to get used to this, I thought to myself. After the 30 minutes had passed, I had informed them that their time was up, and the elderly couple seemed happy as they hugged their families and walked back over to the futon where I motioned for them to sit. I will now draw some blood. You shouldn't feel a thing. And they didn't. They didn't wince or writhe in pain. I collected both syringes and asked them to lie down. They lied down next to each other, both smiling. They looked at one another one last time as they held hands. Oh my God, you guys are gonna get to hear me sing. And I began to sing. If I die, bury me on the roadside. Every passerby will give me a flower. And what flower will that be? Camilla, Camilla. Heaven will give me water, and heaven will bless me with the water to grow you. I really don't know what beat that was supposed to be, but there you go. As I sang the last word, I felt their soul leave their bodies, and it was over. My blood demon art had been successful. Will you like them cremated? I asked the family. The father started crying terribly, but he managed to stifle out a no. I assumed he would have the bodies buried. I stood up and began to walk out of the house. Please, take care, and do not tell anyone about me. Wait! The woman cried out. It was the first time she had spoken to me this entire time. I looked at her, a little worried. Thank you for that. It's something we will never forget. I smiled and made my way out of the house, running into the forest to take shelter from the soon-to-shine sun. And when I made it back to the cabin, I took both syringes and held them over my mouth, consuming the constants that filled them. They tasted awful, but I didn't care. It was power, and it was the only way I could obtain it. Instantly, I felt stronger, even stronger than I did the last time I had consumed human blood. And the sun would rise in about an hour, so I planned to prepare myself for sleep, to consume this newfound energy. That's when my shaky cabin door blew open with a cold gust. Instantly, by the smell, I knew who it was. It was Douma. Well, 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 he sang. Looks like you've kept my promise, he said with a smile, and you couldn't help but smile back. What are you doing here, Douma? I asked with interest. "Oh, I like how you say my name," he said with a wink as he leaned up against the doorframe, crossing his strong, toned arms with his golden fan in each hand. "That didn't answer my question," I teased. "Well, the sun's about to come up and I was nearby. I was hoping I could stay with you and catch up." "Catch up, you say?" I laughed. I knew what else he wanted. Lucky for him, I wanted it too. I told myself I didn't know what it was about him that attracted me so much, but I was obviously lying to myself. He was tall and muscular, cunning and mischievous. He overpowered me and thought so highly of himself, which made my heart skip a beat. He was bad news, but I wanted him. And not to mention those rainbow eyes. I don't know the word for it when you have it in scientific term. How couldn't I get lost in those? "Well, aren't you going to invite me in?" he said sarcastically. "No," I responded jokingly. That broke him. Whether it made him angry or turned him on, I didn't know. But he stormed in and grabbed a hold of me. He picked me up, and instantly I wrapped my legs around his torso as he pushed me up against the wall. I was face to face with him, yet he barely gave me a chance to gaze into his rainbow eyes. My heart pounded from the sudden exhilaration as he forcefully shoved his lips onto mine. Cutting my lip with his fangs, he licked up the bit of blood before the wound healed and continued to force his tongue into my mouth. And he and I fought for dominance, which he obviously won. Well, ultimately, because my hands ran through his thick, light blonde hair as I squeezed his torso with my legs, bringing him as close as I could to me. He had one arm wrapped around my body, holding me against him, and the other was by my head on the wall, supporting himself up against it. He pulled away, and a strand of saliva connecting our lips. "So much for catching up," I teased as his lips curled upwards. He didn't say anything. Instead, he looked deep into my eyes as I did the same. "Douma," I sighed, and he cocked an eyebrow, waiting to hear the rest. "I want you." He laughed his evil laugh, just like I had heard many times before. "You're a demon, so I guess you'll be able to handle it." Before I get started, I have lost track of my recording schedule, so I'm just going to restart because I had recorded my other episode that goes with this on every weekday on a Saturday, and was like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna get the ending on Monday." It's being posted on Monday. Oh my god. But there's my little rant for tonight. But anyways, I hope you guys loved this episode. Bye. Mwah.